gentlemen, welcome and thank you everyone for coming to the wonderful wedding of my daughter Priyanka and my new son-in-law, who's my pickle, Jack. What a wonderful What a wonderful and beautiful day they've arranged, and I think you would all agree that they both look stunning. I couldn't be more proud of them both, as is Priyanka's dad Champa, who sadly can't join us due to his health. I feel incredibly lucky to have 3 daughters and their fantastic husbands. Don't get big-headed. I've gained 3 sons, and I'm so thankful for the love and support they give our 3 girls. Jack has slotted into our family brilliantly. He's confident, funny, kind, and I can see how much he loves our Priyanka. Yeah. About Priyanka, she's such a kind and beautiful person. She's such a kind and beautiful person and so incredibly smart. I'm so proud that in September she will start her new job as a deputy head. Alongside her busy career, she is a loving daughter, sister, and auntie to everyone in our family. Thank you, Priyanka, for everything you do for all of us. One more thing I would like to add, and this is from Wendy. She's asked me to say that we are the besties. So I would like to finish by asking you all to raise your glasses to the wonderful couple.
We all good? So, my name's Harry, I'm 50% of the best men, or if you've met me, 60-40. I've been looking forward to this speech for quite a while because I'm about to live out every married man's dream. I'm about to be talking for the next 6 minutes and not be interrupted. So, she knows, don't worry. Meow. Don't worry about it. So we'll start before Priyanka. Sensation. You look breathtaking, stunning, beautiful. Skins, you're about to get it, so strap in. Joking, this is like the 18th version of the speech where every single time I'm about to wipe out every part of delinquent behaviour he's ever had, so it's actually very tame to be honest. So, where are we going to? For context, you will know him as Jack, but he's been skinned for more than 2 decades in some parts of Devon. Just so you're all in on it, Jack joined Ilfracombe Rugby Club as an absolute specimen of a man. Similar to how he looks today, just much skinnier. Well, as tall as he was today, but essentially he looked like a poster child for an Oxfam appeal. At 6'2" and 10 stone and ginger, he cut quite the figure. No, literally parts of him actually cut. A Devonian Rugby Club changing room is, if you're not aware, not a safe space to be who you want to be. Hence why Jack on his first day was asked how much he benched, where he got his steroids from, and he was asked not to turn sideways for fear of never being able to find him again. Okay? Jack was then dubbed Skinny Jim, which is a rather traditional nickname for the West Country, which later became Skinny, which later became Skins. The nickname is so comprehensive that for several years my parents genuinely forgot Skins' actual name. This is also true of Sam, who was called Snowy, But that story is much less interesting than what Joining a rugby club might not seem like a typical move for someone of this immense stature, but everyone at the rugby club was surprised that Skins soon got the reputation for being one of the biggest hitters in the club. A combination of exceptional tackling technique and people constantly assuming that they could go straight over the top of him played to his advantage. This solidified his nickname over the years, moving from ribbing him into a term of actual endearment. Skins hasn't been his only nickname over the years, he's had several. Warrior Blood was one of them due to his fiery disposition. Moroccan Sunset was another one. Moulin Rouge was what he used to tell the women they looked like. And the final one was Firecrotch. I worked out the other week that we've actually known each other for the last 24 years. We met on my first day in Devon, where I was to be shown around the school by Jack Charles Bourne in Mrs. Swell's geography class. I believe this was met by an actual audible by Jack. I was showing around the highlights of Ilfracombe Comprehensive. This is where we play football, this is where we get lunch, this is where we propose to our cousins. It's a true tradition, to be fair. We've stayed friends all the way through school and since then. Skins being a very clever student, also loved mercilessly to teach people. If you've ever met Skins, you know him as one of the quickest wits you've ever met. In school, this included the teachers, specifically a mustachioed supply teacher called Mr. Clinch. Mr. Clinch had a flower pencil case. He liked to tie himself to roundabouts. He was very in touch with the emotions in front of the class. So anyone who's met Skins will know full well that this was a prime target. Skins never let him forget this, and he'd often, whether it was the fact that he saw him hugging in the A361 on his way to school that day. I'd like to point out there were many more comments made, but absolutely none of them were suitable for broadcast right now, so that's the only one you get. You can imagine my enjoyment when he decided to marry a teacher. We were in a lot of classes together, both being top set for everything. Well done. Thank you. It was deemed one day in year 9 though that we had to be separated. Skins was specifically named in some of my school feedback reports as in, could do better if stop messing around with Jack in class. Jack became the sacrificial lamb and was moved to the bottom set English where not only could they not achieve A's, they couldn't spell them either. And you might not realise this, but Skins, or Jack, is an exceptional dancer. Not only... Yeah, I know, right? You can't believe it.
No one knows this, by the way.
Not only a very good dancer, lanky and ginger is often what street dancers are made of. If you ask him nicely, I'm sure he will pop and lock his way to the dance floor later. He's got more moves than a dodgy priest. Sorry, I didn't mean it, Reverend, no dodgy priest around here. Now, as you can imagine, this over 6 foot skinny, ginger, rugby playing, teacher torturing, Oxfam appeal looking warrior bloke was a massive hit with the ladies. Massive. I've written in pause for a laughter here, but clearly you all know what's going on. When he first introduced me to Priyanka, I could tell he felt differently about her. In fact, I got very drunk that night and told them both repeatedly many times over and over and over and over again how special they were to each other. Just be a good friend, you know. Just make sure that it's getting there, don't worry, don't worry. Which ended in red wine all over one of our walls. Yeah.
Wasn't me, mate.
I'm just saying, we haven't painted sins, we need our deposit, right? Mint Skins also. Funnily enough, you'll be shocked by this. We both turned up being sick in the morning. Both me and Jack. I know, shocking. we drank too much and we got sick. It's never happened before or since. Swear down. This has confirmed a solid friendship between all 4 of us. Over the years, I've watched how they are together with each other. I've seen how comfortable they are with each other in each other's presence. And the Skins hasn't changed in stone at all to do with Priyanka. Other than the good bits, Priyanka told him to change because obviously they were bad. Like, you know, all the bits that could stay stayed, but all the bad, no, don't you worry about that. I love that Priyanka takes absolutely none of your for whatsoever, which is exactly what we need. they see each other, they complement each other, and they belong together. And now that I'm here giving this speech, I can officially say that I absolutely called it. Day one, years ago, nailed it. Whilst writing this speech, my wife Abs made a suggestion about talking about the shared love for Hungary, which I think we can all be agreed that with that she's not making any speeches because that's just now, isn't it? What letters? Talking about the dog, honestly. Let the side down now. When I started to write the speech, one of the first things I wrote down was pride. I'm proud to be a dad, I'm proud to be a husband, I'm proud to be a police officer. But I was never sure that, I was surprised that I was going to be proud of my two best friends. Yes, no, that includes you. But today isn't about Snowy, she can do one. I'm proud of Jack. I'm proud in him forging a life, a career, and a character of the last 2 decades that he should be proud of. That I'm proud of. I've watched him grow as a person, often against the grain and conventional advice given by me and Snowy, which is, you can agree, is long-winded advice, to do what he knows is best, not what we say will be cool and look sick. He's one of the best people I know, and that's why my son has his name.
Got it.
I'm proud of Priyanka as well. Putting up with Jack. The first time I met Priyanka was in a restaurant in Gloucester where she met our son, and she's been so great with both our boys ever since. I mean, I'm so grateful for that. I think the speed in which she became part of our friendship group is a real testament to the person that she is. And I'm glad that we all have you in our lives. It's the whiskey, it's not the speech, I promise. It's building up with reflux. So, there is for this evening an Irish goodbye protocol in place. Derek, calm down, sorry. For those who aren't aware, an Irish goodbye is when you leave without saying goodbye, alright? So, Jack and Priyanka want to enjoy their wedding, and I can promise you that they're way too polite to say this to you, so I know. So, if you're some long-lost family member that has half of an amulet and you got separated at birth and you've now rejoined and Denzel's going to play you in the film next year, then fine. But if that's not you, text him. Yeah. Leave them alone to enjoy the rest of their night, and they will read them all in the morning, and they will enjoy their evening, and everyone will say goodbye and go away. We already know it's a lovely day, we already know Priyanka look beautiful, we know it's so good to see everyone, don't worry about it, you're fine. Right? Turn the speed sideways again, honestly. It's like talking to yourself. Okay. Just a reminder then that the Irish goodbye protocol is in place. As Derek calls them, goodbye. I'm so happy for both of you. I love both of you. Everyone, please be upstanding and raise your glass. The screen's Sign. One more time.
This is Rats, this is Fix. So that's how I'm going to refer to us in the speech. So now it's time for the gentle, dulcet tones of the bridesmaids, where we regale you with wonderful stories of the bride, which will leave you warm and fuzzy inside. Also known as a bridal roast with a drinking game thrown in. It wouldn't be a Pix party without drinking game. So we thought a lot about the stories we'd include today. Should we tell you about the time that the first time she got drunk with her Langus crew? Mum phoned me and said, I've just picked Priyanka up. I've had to put her in the shower. She's unconscious. Shall I phone 999? I was really tempted to say yes, but I said no and told her to put her to bed with some water and a sick bucket. Also wondered about whether we tell you about the time that when we were little, me and Pix shared a room. We had 2 single beds. There was plenty of room for there to be a bedside table in the middle. But no, pigs wanted to have beds next to each other, touching like a weird double bed. I don't know if I'm just a really good cuddler, but she insisted that should my foot cross the sacred boundary of the middle bit, I'd probably get kicked in the middle of the night, fast asleep, seriously, and thrown on the other side. I hope she's not still doing that, Jack. I don't know. Is she precious about it?
No comment.
Or should we tell you about the fact that when she eats, she can't have the food touching? I mean, I don't know how she's coped today, because I don't know whoever had the chicken. It was all on top of each other. I think she might find it quite difficult. But did you see the vegetables all separate? That's pigs. No, what I wanted to tell you was a story about an 8-year-old Priyanka. It's haunted her for a really long time. I know, she's even groaning now. This is sort of taking the mickey out of us as well, so just go with it. So picture this, a scene in a house, a family sitting there, helping the youngest learn their spellings. And picture this, Priyanka going, "It's Mike Bishma, M-I-T-E." Guys, she's not lived it down, she was 8. She's a teacher now, but somehow we love this story. So we bring it out at Christmases, the King's coronation, birthdays, basically whenever we can. Hen do, I mean, like weekend, any weekend. And so we thought it'd be really appropriate to bring this out at her wedding. But what better way to mark this glorious occasion than by turning it into a drinking game? Maybe forever laying it to peace? Probably not. So, if you hear the words might, what I want you to do is take a sip of your drink. I was going to get you all to shout M-I-T-E might, but I think we might be here forever. So, in the interest of time and everyone's sanity, you just have to drink. But the alcohol-free lot amongst us, the kids have got water, there's a bit of lemonade, have a sugar high, enjoy yourselves. So strap yourselves in, and I'm going to pass you on to Max.
So whilst Rishma is the sister that will tell you to take a little sip of your drink when you hear the word might, I'm the sister that's going to tell you to take a big glug, please. So now I might tell you a few more quick stories about when I convinced Priyanka that I was actually her mum and not her sister, just like Kat and Zoe Slater. There's a 15-year gap. This might have resulted in tears every single time. Or when Priyanka insisted on watching movies with us on Friday nights with my friends. We always watch scary movies, by the way. And we told her it might be scary. I hope everyone's glasses are full, by the way. And we convinced her to close her eyes on all the scary bits, which resulted in her falling asleep on the sofa and actually cuddling next to me, which was really lovely. Now on what might be the really good stories, which will give you an idea of what an amazing person Pix is. As you know, she's super, super friendly, and that was never clearer than on the hen party. But it might be secret information, and if you buy us a drink later, we might fill you in on all the gossip. The great stories are of when Pix met her future brother-in-laws, Ben and Derek, and how accepting she was of these initial strangers, but now brothers. Or the story of when she became an auntie to Niall, Kian, Millie, Edie and Freya, who she cherishes with all of her heart, as does Jack. So much so that they've all had a big role to play today. It's been amazing. And we might chuck Humphrey into this story as well. Jack, we are so delighted that you picked tonight. We've never seen our sister this happy. What started as a date in a dodgy London bar, right through to building your little family with humps. We're really, really proud of everything that's done so far. You might say, what's next? Well, from what we can see, no doubt there'll be more love, laughter and happiness. But one word of advice, we don't want any more cauliflower cheese lasagna. This is gross. And it might turn my stomach a little bit. So that concludes our bridesmaid speech. And we'd now like you to raise your glasses and officially welcome Jack into the Cow, Horror and Cornwall family. And here's to an amazing future for you both. We love you so much. Priyanka and Jack.
I'm the final part of the speech before the groom gets to say his piece, so I'll try and keep this sweet. Thank you, Faye, for teeing off some housekeeping on the nicknames. It can get confusing, there's quite a few going around. As we were writing these speeches, Harry and I, sort of, after we've done our first draft, sort of spoke to each other and said, what are you saying, what are you going to be doing? And we both had a bit of silence and went, I don't know. It's like, well, is any of it appropriate? We're like, no, we can't say anything. So we had to try and find something nice and endearing to say. Now, I haven't actually changed this speech much after hearing Harry's speech. So you can see for yourselves just how close we all are and how similar they are. So the majority of Skinny's stories and anecdotes aren't appropriate. We also have three fine women in the audience over there. We have the Rev Lewis, Karen, and poor Wendy over here. And the last thing they need to go through is what we got up to as kids. The things we did. You don't need it again. And having all three of us sleeping in the same bed almost every weekend for maybe 10 years probably didn't instill much confidence that we'd all get married to beautiful women. So we're all doing all right on that front. Jack and I, as well, first met at Ilfracombe Comprehensive. Unlike Harry and Jack, and this is where this is before we corroborated, so this is the baseline. Unlike Harry and Jack, I didn't share many classes with them. I was a bit more of a space cadet, and I was in the bottom classes. So I got to miss Jack's sharp tongue, which he used to abuse the teachers with. Specifically, moustache having Mr. Clinch, he used to tie himself to roundabouts. And if he didn't have much to be depressed about, he was teaching at Ilfracombe College. And now he's got a skinny ginger lad giving him grief. Jack and I only really started, that's in different classes, Jack and I only really started getting close to one another once all three of us, sorry Faye, started to go to dance classes. So I know, we did circus, street dance and a little bit of ballet. Late bloomers, Jack and I. It took us for quite a few years to realise that out of a class of roughly 40 students, there was only 3 blokes, and 2 of them weren't even interested in the women, so perfectly fine. I didn't, just like school, I wasn't really in the same class as Jack. for the dance. I didn't have his confidence, I didn't have his rhythm, and I didn't have his commitment to it. And it's thanks to that commitment that he had to his dance that he had the confidence to go to London, and he had some friends that he could go and see there to start his new life, and that he's met Priyanka. It's no secret that Jack has a group of us here who are massive gamers. I love to spend our spare time chilling out together in a safe space, filled with some of the most abusive, aggressive, raging abuse and behaviour that you could ever imagine. Any girlfriends and wives of the men involved in that, I do apologise. It's not going to change, and we love it. Sorry. Again, I wasn't in the same class as Jack in his gaming, or in our gaming. Jack, when it comes... that's the dance bit, sorry.
Same as the gaming, leave it there.
Alright, I'm ready again.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So Jack's quick wit keeps us all laughing, keeps us together, and for decades helping each one of us through lost loved ones, or even the stress of running a virtual kebab shop while your wife's water's breaking. We put in another round just in case, because we upgraded the kebab oven. Again, there is nobody in Jack's class when it comes to his wit, quick comments, and hilarious abuse. It was, however, during our gaming sessions that we first heard about Priyanka, swiftly followed by disbelief and abuse from the rest of us. Obviously Casanovas, we all play computer games. In the gaming chat, so I'm shaking like a shitty dog. There's even more disbelief. When we actually finally got to meet Priyanka. Beautiful, kind, warm, empathetic, and made us all bacon sandwiches the morning after the stag do. After we came stumbling in the early hours, stinking of whiskey man. We have all spoken behind Jack's back, asking the big question, how did he manage this? So allow me to explain. His sharp tongue will always defend Priyanka, even if it does mean you end up needing a security escort to the station because he stood up and squared up to a load of travellers. His confidence and commitment, still wildly unwarranted, will always support you, and his quick wit will always make you have a smile on your face no matter the circumstances. So let's raise a toast to Jack and Priyanka, and fingers crossed,
it's all going to be a very tough act to follow. And I did invite Mr. Clinch, but I don't know why he hasn't turned up. I just want to say before I start my speech, darling, that seeing you walk down to the aisle is breathtaking. You look really beautiful today, and all the effort and everything that you've done is just so worth it. You look incredible. So. That's not even written down, just for anyone worries about that. The other thing I was going to say is that I'm not much of a crier, right? I've never really been much of a crier. And today pushed that limit a little bit, right? And I knew I was in trouble first when my mother-in-law, Jayshree, tied the bracelet round my wrist, and I couldn't speak in fear of crying. And then when the registrar said, it's all right to cry today, mate. And I said, no, I'll be all right. And he goes, wait till you see her, she looks stunning. I just knew then that it was going to be a bit of a soppy day. But there was a silver lining to this that I've just heard probably 20 minutes ago, and if my crying wasn't bad enough, it was the story of our two best men crying, hands held. As Priyanka walked up the aisle. So, round of applause for my best men. And it was nice to see so many other people crying, because normally when I'm speaking and other people are crying, it's because I've taken a joke too far. So that was really lovely as well. So I'll go to the speech. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone that's made such a massive effort to be here today. I know that Devon's quite far away, and a lot of you have done many, many miles to join us, and it's really quite humbling that so many of you want to share this day with us. So I just had to call out where some of you have come from to join us today. So we'll start with the obvious, London. So thank you everybody from London that's come and made the trip. It's about 220 miles, and in their words, pretty tight roads apparently when you get down this end. We've got some people from Bristol, but I think there's only maybe we have people from Peterborough and the Midlands, so thank you for making the journey. And I would go for all of these, but that's boring, and we'll be here all day. So finally, I'd just like to give a massive shout out to Sophie and Will, who have made the trip from Zambia to be here. You from Devon, be grateful, and I expect that at the bar later. Alright, so thank you very much. I'm going to start my speech as a story on our first date, and you might have heard this one, but I'll give you a little bit more context from my side. So, myself and Priyanka met online, and it was kind of casual at the beginning, like speaking normally. It wasn't like love at first swipe or whatever people say. But this story really goes to show what like a loving, patient and warm person Priyanka really is. Because she saw potential in someone that rocked up to the date 45 minutes late, right? Now anybody that can see potential in that sloth is very worthy of being married. So I turned up to the date 45 minutes late after travelling all the way across London to be there. Kind of like, I thought in my head it'd be romantic, it'd be like Colin Firth rushing to the airport. Absolutely wasn't, right? I got changed in the boot of my car, rocked up to London Bridge train station, didn't really know what she looked like properly, staring at a W.H. Smith thinking, where is she? She was there and very happy to see me, luckily, and the day continued wonderfully after that. So thank you very much, darling. On that note, I did ask for a bit of a tour around London. Priyanka took me to an underground bar and a nightclub. But if you think that was my most embarrassing moment from the first date, it's not, because I topped it a few hours later, which is great news for me. Because after the first date ended, it's probably about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Priyanka's got in the cab and she's headed home. I've got in the cab and headed home. And I thought, I'll send her a text to let her know that tonight was good fun. So what might you text a date that's just gone home on your first date and you've had a great time? You might say, I had a really great time. You might say, can't wait to see you again. Cast it over here. Bride emoji. And I said to any single fellas in the room, it's worked, isn't it? I'd also like to thank Priyanka and an amazing organisation for getting today where it is. Obviously I've played a huge part, but it's up to Priyanka, the reason that you're all sat here today. So I'd like to say thank you to Priyanka for organising today, and secondly, I'd like to thank you very much for inviting me. Best +1 ever. But more about Priyanka, less of the jokes, I think. So, to say that I am a better man because of Priyanka would be an understatement. Every day I'm reminded of her love, warmth and kindness. She's become the centre of my whole world, and I'm truly grateful to spend the rest of my life alongside her. There are simply not enough words to describe how much I love you, but I promise to show you every day. You truly are everything I could ever ask for and more. And the fact I'm stood here today as your husband, tears are coming on, husband is something that I'll cherish for the rest of our lives. To everybody here, our family and our closest friends, I would like to raise a toast to my beautiful wife, Mrs. Bourne. Thank you very much.